The coaches are in. When you need a timely, transparent friend, tune into the coaches are in. Talking career, business, health, and wealth. You've got a friend now into the coaches are in. With authenticity, come on, let's take a seat and tune in.
All right, and we're back for another episode of The Coaches Are In. Yes. All right, so I am Dr. Cherita Weatherspoon.
Yes, you are.
I can confirm. Right. The creator of The Coaches Are In.
The only one.
And the CEO and founder of Powerhouse Coaching, where I serve as a business strategist and alignment coach for multiple six-figure revenue generating Black women, entrepreneurs,
that's good.
Who are seeking to realign and thrive. Mm-hmm. And they want to fix what's broken in their business, but they don't want to start all over.
Yeah,
right?
Nobody wants to do that.
Help them to do that without burning it all down.
That's good. We know that. We don't need to burn our own down. Yes. Well, hello, ladies. I'm Dr. Malaika Turner, and I am the CEO and the founder of the Speaker LLC. I'm also the host of the Pivot Podcast, but you can catch me here as the confidence coach. I'm trying to help you just build your strength and your confident muscle so that you can show up in the world the way you were meant to be.
Yes, I love that muscle.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Allison Garrett. I am your behavioral interventionist, and I work with women who struggle with knowing what has them stuck without years of therapy.
That's good.
And Allison is rocking those glasses.
I'm loving it.
Thank you, darling.
Yes. All right, so I want you to check out what we've got for you for tonight's episode.
We are ready to kick this show off.
Yes,
are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, I'm going to start with the viewer question. Dear coaches, I've been running my business for a while, but I'm finding it challenging to stay motivated and inspired. How can I reignite my passion for my business and stay driven to achieve my goals?
Well, it depends. It depends. I mean, we don't have a lot of information, so I don't know if she's only been in business for like a year or if it's been 4 to 5 years. And I think the answer would be a little bit different depending on where she is in her business and also how much money she's making in her business as well. Because she could be feeling that way because she's not generating a lot of money. And maybe she's not generating because the business is fairly new and she just expected like quicker success or something like that. And just feeling defeated. But I'm going to make some assumptions here about what her situation is. So we're going to assume that she's a more experienced entrepreneur, maybe in business for like 3 to 5 years, and that she's generating, let's say, at least $250,000 a year in revenue. So like she's making some money, but she is uninspired. Right now. I would venture to say that it is likely because her business is reflecting who she was when she launched her business and not who she is now. Right. So we have various iterations of our business, right? So when she launched, she had this audience in mind. She had this particular service, program, or product that she wanted to offer. Right. And she did that. She started making money, and then she probably put systems and processes and automations, all of that good stuff in place to support that initial version of her business.
Right.
But, you know, she was likely enrolling in programs herself, so she's growing as a professional. Her expertise is growing. She's building more authority and credibility and things like that. So now, a few years later, she really is a different entrepreneur than what she was then, but her business is probably still reflecting that first time just starting out entrepreneur. So now, you know, she probably needs to be serving a different audience, you know, or like wants to serve a different audience. Probably wants to make some changes in her offers. Right. Probably wants to change the pricing of her offers. But feeling, you know, like if I make these types of changes, it does feel like you're starting over, right? You don't want to do that, so you just stay where you are. Yes, because I'm making money, right? You know? Right. So you kind of stay stuck in that situation. Like I can't start over. I can't stop making money. Like I have to keep generating revenue because I'm supporting my family this way, you know, and all of that. But what I would venture to say is that, you know, really you can pivot. You know, within your business, you can continue to make money doing what you're currently doing while you build out the new thing that you should be doing based on who you are now, so that your business becomes more aligned with who you are and the lifestyle that you want to live and your personal priorities. You probably need to get some sort of support in doing that, because I know it can be scary. You know, it's just like this. Like I'm serving these people, I'm still meeting their needs, like I'm effective, but like I'm not fulfilled in doing this work anymore. And it doesn't mean, like go back to a 9 to 5 or that you're not cut out to be an entrepreneur. It really is about just being misaligned and getting realigned with where you need to be and making sure the business supports your lifestyle. So, I mean, obviously, I do this work. So I can help you with that. But I would just say to really reflect on what is it that has you feeling unfulfilled and uninspired, because you just may need to make a shift in your business. And I promise you that you do not have to stop generating revenue while you're making the shift, so you don't feel like you have to lose out or take a step back in the process. Right. Yeah.
I think I'm looking at her business life as a reflection of her personal life, potentially. So even when you say like to be re-inspired, like not inspired anymore, not motivated, I'm like, she's bored. Pretty much bored. And it could just be the day-to-day, the mundane things. Yeah. Maybe in addition to that realignment piece and finding out where it is that she needs to be in her business, I'm suggesting that you also remember what parts of it, right, that did bring you joy. Right. Maybe those are things that you're still doing in your business that someone else can do, and you can take another role when you do that step back. You know, maybe now you've elevated from the day-to-day, you know, because I know in business, you can get bored with doing the same things over and over again, although it's generating revenue. So I would say kind of look at like what brought you joy in the beginning, and also consider what's happening in your personal life that could make you feel this way too, because sometimes how you do one thing is how you do everything. So maybe just everything overall just needs a refresh. So it's like, what parts of this do I love? What things can I do in my personal life to help me be more fulfilled that will ignite motivation on the business side?
That's good. Yeah. You know, I don't have a lot to say other than, to support what the coaches have already said, but I will come from a different perspective and just say, listen, sometimes you got to pray and ask God to inspire you because you've lost the fire. Yeah. You know, and if that is something that you do, then, you know, Lord, I am really not feeling this, you know. But the one thing that comes to my mind is that, you know, the scripture that talks about God knowing us in our mother's womb. So there's so much more to us inside of us to give. So when you feel like I don't have this energy, I'm not inspired anymore, That's a great place to be if you can admit that, which is happening. But now it's time to go to a deeper place and say, I just show me something, give me something, help me to strategically meet someone. Thank you, Lord, for a divine assignment or a divine connection or a phone call or something that's really going to bring you back and help to inspire that thing inside of you. And a lot of times that one conversation or someone who needs something that you have will inspire you to come back to where you were or create something new, right? So I think that's something that I would share because, it's that I don't hear anything about confidence necessarily, but I will say when you're inspired to do something new, sometimes your confidence is a bit shook. Yeah. Because it's a new environment, it's a new direction, right? And so it's kind of like maybe I don't know if it's so much that I'm not inspired, but I don't want to go to another level.
Right. Yeah.
We don't know because we don't have all the details. But sometimes it's like I'm fine where I am, but I'm also bored. Well, are you challenging yourself to go to the next level? Yeah. So.
And what does that look like? Like pull out the next phases of business. Right. Maybe it is time to go up that level. Right. Innovation, right? Think about whatever it is that you're currently doing. What's coming? Can you find out, like even if it's technology or something new, a new piece that kind of puts you in a place where you have to dive in and learn a little bit so that you could be ahead of the game.
Exactly.
I often think about like how businesses don't continue to thrive when big changes are made because they're not ahead of the game. Think of like bookstores, right? What happened when everything went online? Same thing with videos and movies. Now everything is streaming. If those entities were to take advantage of innovation and thinking of what's to come next in your particular area of business, you have so much more to learn and do, and it'll help keep you ahead of the curve as well.
Right. Because you can be inspired from within your organization, from in you, and also outside. And so it's what is sparking something? What is it helping others and getting inspiration from them? Is it something inside of me? Is it the people around me? What is that thing that you can pinpoint that says inspires you?
Right. That's a good point. I would add to that though that at some point you gotta find your inspiration from inside
within.
of you.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, because people change and environments change and resources change and all of that. So while those things can help to inspire, like you gotta kind of dig deep, deep to find out like what is this thing. And sometimes it's not a major overhaul. Sometimes it really
it's
a tweak. Just like, okay, I'm uninspired because like I have to review these numbers. Like every day I gotta spend every day reviewing these numbers, and numbers are not my thing. So then maybe you get some help with that. So you can take that off your plate and you can identify what are the things that do bring you joy, what you really enjoy doing. And sometimes we get into business, we have this big idea and we want to impact the world and we're going to do this thing and then we start doing and then we find out we don't actually like it.
That was good back then.
We might like the end result, but we don't want to do this.
So, you like the outcome that it produces, but you don't like the process that it takes to get there. So then sometimes it's, okay, well maybe you can direct the vision, but you don't have to be the one who's actually implementing everything that needs to happen for it. And then sometimes as business owners, like we don't want to release things. Like, hold on, like I can't trust anybody else with this. You're going to have to. If you're not getting joy from it, you're going to have to trust somebody else to do it.
And then even if you give it to someone, and if you give it to someone else, that'll give you more time to do some other things that don't even have to do with the business.
Exactly. Because if you come up with that thing that needs to be outsourced with your supervision, you know what I mean, with your oversight, it will free up some of that energy and hopefully open you up for more inspiration and more, creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not too bad of a place to be though.
Yeah, especially if you are that entrepreneur. You're generating decent revenue, even though you're not happy. Like,
Yes.
I think that it makes you're in a better position to shift or pivot than you are if you're not happy and you're not making money.
Yeah, right. And that's another show. That's another segment.
Yeah.
That's another question.
This is some good stuff.
It's like, dear coaches, I'm not making any money and I hate it.
Right. Yeah, that's a different conversation. Awesome. So, hopefully that helped again, not knowing the details of your business and where you're at right now.
That's a good nuggets.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so stay tuned for what's next on the Coaches Are Ready.
Are you a woman over 40 feeling trapped in your own life? Are you yearning to break free from the barriers that hold you back? Then look no further. Introducing Prison Break Coaching, the solution to your liberation. We understand that you want to live your impossible dream without spending years in therapy. Say goodbye to limitations and hello to the life you've always desired.
So we are back with Toresha Foster for another segment on money. Say hello to the ladies.
Hey guys, how we doing?
So just in case you missed Toresha on her first segment with the Coaches Are, and I'm going to let her tell you about who she is and what she does.
Yes. So again, my name is Toresha Foster, where I basically help people start, grow, and scale their businesses with the help of $50,000 to $100,000 in business funding. So I absolutely love it.
50 to 100.
50 to 100. Wow, that's a lot of money. And
For real business.
Yeah, right. For real business.
All right. Well, we're not quite talking about that today. All right. So Toresha is a funding and credit coach. And she is our resident money related coach this season, which we're excited about.
Yes, ching ching.
So on her first segment with us, we talked about money mindset and kind of a little bit into credit and funding, but really wrapped it around how you think about money and your relationship with money. So if you missed that, make sure you go back and check it out.
Yes.
But today we're going to talk about personal credit. So this is a really loaded topic.
It is.
And it's just where do we start?
Yeah.
Where do we finish?
Right.
We only got 15 minutes.
And I talk a lot, so.
So let's start with why personal credit is important.
Yes. Okay, that's good because not everybody wants to do business funding, right? Mm-hmm. Not everyone wants to own a business, but everyone must have good credit, right? Cash used to be king, but credit is king. So the reason why you want for your credit to be in top tier shape, and it does not need to be an 850, guys, because I have these consultation calls and people say, I want an 850. I say, why? And I'm just to have it.
It feels good.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, if you had an 850 and an 800 or even a 730, you're still getting the same interest rate when you go for a mortgage, right? So, but the major reason why you need to have good personal credit is just simply because it opens up a lot of doors, period, point blank. So when you're going to purchase a car, when you're going to purchase a house, you're going to have to pay either a high interest rate or a low interest rate, right? Depending on how much money you're making, and I don't care if you were a millionaire, no one wants to pay a 25% interest rate if they don't have to, right? Mm-hmm. So even when I sold cars, and I would literally see prime rates where you're at 4.25%, right? And then I would literally sell cars to people who had a 24.99% interest rate. It was night and day. An extra $400.
Imagine that on a car note.
I could never in my life imagine a 20. This is the thing. I'll give you guys a prime example. So my brother, at the time, he did not have good credit. And I said, you need to fix your credit. This isn't cute. And he even knew too. He wanted to buy a house. He wanted to do all these things. He was driving like a lot of people do. They buy a car cash, but then it starts breaking down. So he was having issue after issue after issue after issue. He one was able to get approved because Enterprise had like the friends and family discount. So he automatically was able to get $750 off. So that counted as like a down payment. Because when you have bad credit, you have to put some type of money down. Because there's this thing called LTV, loan to value, where the bank is only going to give you a loan based on your credit and like the loan to value. And the worse your credit, the more money you have to put down so that the loan to value is at like, let's just say it's 80%. Right? So he was able to get approved because he had part of the down payment, and then he had a trade-in. If he didn't have those things, he would not have gotten approved for a car. And he has my nieces and nephews, so just imagine that. So again, why is credit important? Because you could, just like life can change like that. Your car breaks down, right? Your house, your apartment complex catch on fire, whatever it is, and you need to use your credit. That's the only way they're going to be able to look at your rap sheet, for lack of a better term. Like, all right, let's see what's going on. Do you pay back XYZ? You know what I mean? It's just like family members. We know we all have that one family member. Why are they calling? They need money, right? If the banks see that you have all these countless inquiries or whatever, and your personal credit is bad, you're not getting a house, you're not getting a car, you're not getting credit cards. And if you are getting a credit card, you're going to have to do a secure credit card. So you just have to make sure your credit is good, or life is going to be very, very hard. Very hard. And I see it all the time.
I'm stuck on that 24.
Isn't that terrible?
For
so trying to go up to 30%.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
the lack of good personal credit is gonna cost you money.
Big time.
And you're gonna pay it somewhere.
Yeah.
So just pay the bills.
Just pay the bills and pay them on time.
Right.
That's 35% of your score right there. You're good.
Right.
As long as you keep your payments on time.
Yes.
The 24 is crazy, and people don't know when they finance a car. Once you look at your not your buyer's order, I can't think of the darn sheet. I can't think of the name of the darn sheet right now. And I sold cars for that long, but there's a sheet where it shows you your the finance charge, right? So how much you're gonna pay like finance wise, and people pay double. So a Nissan Altima that's $15,000 before COVID, they were paying like $30,000 after like 5-6 years in total. So they paid double for the car because their credit was bad.
Right.
Versus somebody else who pays $2,000 in interest for a 5-year term.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. So employers sometimes look at your credit too.
They do. They do. So employers now. So if you're a mortgage broker or something like that and your credit is not good, it doesn't matter how good you are at your job, they're denying you because you're looking into people's financials and things like that. So yes, they will do these. They don't do a hard credit pull, but they'll do like a soft credit pull. Like Amazon did it on me. I don't think Enterprise did it, nor did Airline, but I know Amazon definitely did. Again, it's Amazon. I was in charge of 100+ employees. They were paying me a pretty penny. So all those different things. As you move up, I'm like, oh dang, I didn't know that a place like Amazon was going to run my credit, but they ran my credit.
Right.
So yes, that's another thing. Like just how a job can change your situation. Imagine if your credit isn't good, and that's the only reason they're judging you by your credit. So imagine if you're the CEO of a company, right? And you have 10 candidates and you could be the best candidate, but you're at a 600 and somebody else is at a 750. They're choosing the 750 because the number looks good, even though you're more qualified,
right?
But they're just looking at the number. So yeah, that could really mess up somebody's overall life as a whole, just because again, their credit isn't fixed. It's not in order. And
sometimes your credit score is viewed as a reflection of your level of integrity.
It is. Yes, that's very true, because there's people who, we all hit rough patches, right? Which we get, right? But it's just like, all right, prime example, let's say you have a mortgage, right? And you need to defer your payments. Like they have different portals where you can defer your payments and things like that. At least call the mortgage company, let them know like, hey, I had a rough patch, I'm going through a hardship. Credit card companies, you can do that too. But people just, I even have credit clients. I fix their credit and then they still pop up with late payments. And I say, I'm literally asking them like, hey, did you notice that you have a late payment on your Capital One? Yeah, I just got annoyed with them. Like I called in seeing if they could like remove the other late payment, even though they know I'm working on it, but sometimes calling and doing it at the same time. So I know I shouldn't have done it, but I said, screw them. I'm not paying them anymore. I know I owe you $3,000. And I'm like, that's 35% score. Yeah, they're going to say, yeah, you just screwed yourself up. Because now when you're going to get, especially a new late payment, anything that's like within a year, you're just going to be down bad. Like it's just not a good look. So you can have automatic denials just because of that. So yeah, when they're looking at the integrity, again, are you going to give someone a loan that has a whole bunch of green checks or green check, X, 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 green, green? It's like, oh, it's like when you work out whenever you feel like it, but then your body's like, all right, well, I'm going to be sore every time that you do go and work out because you're not consistent. Same thing with when you're paying your bills. Yes, you will look crazy on paper and it will show that you have no integrity if you're not paying the banks who loaned you money, because it's not our money. It's like the money that they loan to us. We have to pay it back.
Right. And your electric bill.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've had people who say, oh yeah, I'm only going to pay $20 on my electric bill. I'm like, what?
Right. Everybody is reporting now, and even student loans are reporting a little bit differently. We had our youngest son apply for a credit card, and he has a part-time job, so he has some income. He had a decent amount of money in his bank account at the time that he applied, and they actually got that electronic access to his bank in the application process, which I did not know they did that now. But they could see he had some money in his account, right? And they still denied him. And I'm trying to figure out why. And it was for a student credit card. And he was a college student.
Right.
Why did they deny him? And the letter finally comes and it says about like his debt to income ratio. Well, what's his debt? It's a student loan that he got his freshman year. He's a sophomore in college, so it's not even in repayment yet.
Right.
And I'm like, this student loan is hurting him already. But I'm like, he's a student. It's a student loan. It's a student credit card. Why are you counting the student loan against him? And he actually has a part-time job. Right. So like he can. If you gave him $1,000 credit limit, he can pay the bill. Right, exactly. You know what I mean? So it's really crazy how different things are impacting you. Back in my day, that student loan didn't affect you until it went into repayment and you didn't pay.
Right, that's very true. Right. I'll say too again. So if you guys didn't tap into the last episode, I said. Social media can be like a blessing and curse, right? So there are a lot of people out here nowadays, even with the PPP loans and things like that, right? They have to they have to add extra layers of protection to protect themselves. So in your son's case, like we all know that he's going to pay the bill, right? But then there's other people. I mean, there's people acting like they're students and things like that. Right. And they're not. They've never been a student. And people are lying on applications, which is breaking the law, but so they add these extra layers of protection. However, like in his case, you could always call like the reconsideration line because there's algorithms for personal credit, business credit, whatever it is. But yeah, it's completely different now versus like even 5 years ago. You didn't have to like, as long as you had a pulse, pretty much, like, yeah, we're going to give you some money. Now it's like, oh, we're not giving you anything. And they looking into your financials. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So, but yes, going forward, and it's just going to get worse. So the best thing I can say, like we said, pay your bills on time, because that is the first hurdle that you have to get over. After that, everything else is pretty much smooth sailing. When you're younger, age is not on your side. So, I mean, 10% of your credit score is based on your, 15% of your score is your average length of credit history. So the younger you are, I mean, my credit still can't be excellent unless I do like trade lines and all these other things, which I don't really care for. The highest my score has ever been is 750. And I'm 30 years old. And there's I've seen people who have 800s more than me, but because they started their credit journey prior to me, or they add trade lines. Like, there's so many different ways to manipulate your credit. But as far as like going forward, when it comes to like approvals and things like that, oh yeah, it's going to get harder and harder. So yeah.
And the sooner you start to correct it, the better you are.
That is true, because I have people who, they come in for credit repair, and I'm like, okay, what's your reason for credit repair? What are your goals? I'll never forget this one person. This was a couple months ago, and I just still find it very baffling, guys, because I even told them that I found it baffling that it took you 30 plus years to build up this profile, and then you turned it to complete trash, but now you want it fixed in 60 days so you can get a house next month. Right. I said, and I said it just like that. I said, does that make sense? And she said, well, no, I just need to get like the house. And I said, I understand, but you're calling me now like when it's like a do or die, and I can't do that in 60 days. Like, I'm not going to say I can promise you, because if it is done in 60 days, great. But you never really know how long credit repair is going to take. So like you said, the sooner you start, the better it's going to be, because it's like compound interest, right? You will be rewarded down the line. It's not going to happen. You're not going to wake up tomorrow, and it's not like the GameStop stock where everybody got rich quick, right? But as far as like fixing your credit, it does take time. Even if your credit isn't bad and you don't have anything on your credit, that's just as bad. So there's people who buy things cash. Like, I had somebody come in when I worked at Enterprise, and they didn't have anything on their credit report. And they had to pay, and they had the cash to buy the car, but I was explaining it to them why, because they were like, well, I just want to start putting stuff on my credit. But then they saw the interest rate. And I said, look, I already told them, I said, listen, just so you're aware, you're going to have a 24.99 interest rate. In Delaware, that by law, that's the highest we can go.
Because otherwise, it wasn't higher.
Otherwise, it would be higher. And I've actually looked at other people's agreements in like other states. And I forget, there was one dealership in Delaware who's doing some sketchy business, and they had 30% APR on this person's. So look at your stuff, guys. But they had to pay. Sometimes you have to pay to build your credit. You have to pay to remove your stuff, right? You have to pay to build your credit. You're going to pay you're going to have a high variable interest rate. I'm sorry, not variable. You're going to have a high annual percentage rate, right? Your APR is going to be high when you're first starting out, but you will be rewarded. I promise you. I promise you. You'll be rewarded. The more that you build your credit, the better it will be. So it's just like wine, you know?
It's better with time.
It's better with time.
Yes. So if you have problematic credit now, start working on it now. Don't wait until you have a need for it to try to correct it, because you won't be able to do it overnight. And to be quite frank, the car dealership, the landlord, the mortgage company, wherever you're trying to get credit, setting up a new electric account because you moved in somewhere new, they don't care about your backstory.
They really don't.
They don't.
They're like this, okay.
They don't really care why it happened.
Right. Yeah, and people will come in with their sob stories, and at the end of the day, like, when an approval is an approval, and this is what I say this to guys, and I say it with love, but you should never be excited about getting approved for anything. You deserve to be approved. So if you're excited to get approved for stuff, that means that your credit is not good. Because this is the thing. You should be offended that you got approved with a 25% interest rate. Like, are you kidding me? When my interest rate on my car is 4.25%, and this is like during pandemic, and I was so pissed off because I was leaving Enterprise at the time, got a car from them, and they decided to shut down like a week before, no, I was in my car like 3 days later, but they decided to shut down as a whole, like all of Enterprise. They had to shut down, well, not collectively, but my group, they had to shut down all of the branches. And I was supposed to get my check from my credit union where I had a 2% interest rate. And I had to pay extra 2 points because Enterprise decided to shut down. I couldn't get the check until the next day. So, but I was still pissed off about the 2% interest rate. I'm like, I need 0. So my credit, you guys, I'm not late on anything.
Right.
But so it's okay to be excited. Okay, yes, get excited. Cool. But if you're getting excited over interest rates when they were at like 7% for mortgages and stuff like that, like rethink. Again, reset your mindset. You deserve to be approved for anything that you want. Even $1 billion house if you want it. Just work for it.
So what are just some like really quick things that you would share with the viewers around their personal credit? Because there has been a movement over the last decade or so where it's like, don't use credit. And just sometimes cash is just not going to work for you.
It's
and
not.
there are a lot of places that are no longer accepting cash. So just share a couple of things with them before we wrap up.
Oh, yeah. So I say this. If you guys love traveling, credit is your best friend. You don't really have to pay for flights at all. Just if you, solely because you're using your credit card, right? I say, I don't know what a debit card is. You should, don't cut up your debit card because you may need to take cash out when you go get your hair done. I have to pay cash for my hair, so that's the only time I use my debit card. But besides that, when I go to the Chinese store, I used to think that's my mindset. When I was younger, I would say I was like 19 years old or 20. And I used to think, this is when I still kind of care what people thought about me. And I would go into a store and spend like $3. And I would think that they thought that, oh, she's poor, she's using a credit card. But listen, I will spend $3 at a Chinese spot if they don't have a minimum spend to get my points, because every point counts, because you get a credit card and there's different categories, right? So everybody wants the Amex Platinum card, right? Because you get, but it's not good for all things. It's good for travel because when you book a flight, hotel, you get 5 times the points. Anything else though, it's only 1 time the point, right? Let's say you have your Chase Unlimited card, Chase Freedom Unlimited. That's 1.5% cash back, unlimited. So imagine even if you're putting your bills, and people don't know that they can actually pay their mortgage with a credit card through like different platforms and stuff like that, right? Like Plastique, where you can get points. So you're going to spend the money regardless. One, why would you use your debit card when if that gets compromised, and let's say you have $30,000 or even $5,000, $1,000, whatever money, any amount, it like literally, if somebody gets that information, and be careful when you're pumping your gas because the card swipers are out again, they could steal your information and withdraw all that money, right? And you're only FDIC insured up to $250,000. So keep these things in mind. Like a debit card can only hurt you for worst case scenario. If you have a credit card and somebody runs it up $3,000, $100,000, whatever it is, you can say, "Hey, I didn't make that charge." Now, again, guys, we're not doing fraud. This is when it's really fraud. Right. Make sure it's legitimate because people do some fishy stuff, but make sure it's legitimate. And if it is, they will literally refund you your money. So 1 is protection of your bank account. 2, you can literally live life for free to a certain extent. Like my flights, I rarely pay for. And when I do, it's just because I upgrade to first class, but I'll pay like $200 to upgrade to first class versus a first class seat is like $1,500 if you're paying for it, right? Your food, you don't have to pay for your food when you have these points, right? So credit is the greatest thing. And guess what? When you do have good credit, let's say you need a new car, you don't have to put any money down. So you save money. So your car breaks down. Yes, it sucks, right? Your car broke down. It was paid off. Now you have to have a whole nother payment. Comes 45, 60 days later. However, you didn't really lose any money when you went into that dealership. Well, no, I'm going to say this and then y'all don't go to the dealership. Go to your bank. Get your pre-approval, get your one check so that you only have one inquiry on your report. Then that's when you go to the dealership. You have good credit. You get to shop. So you don't really have to worry about, now you can negotiate. So you're saving money again because your credit is good. You're saving money. So my credit tip is fix your credit, use credit cards, put your debit card where you only carry when you need it. And when it comes to mortgages, when it comes to car loans, anything like that, you're going to be rewarded with very low interest rates. And go to credit unions when you are getting funding for your mortgage or what have you, because they're, traditionally speaking, are going to give you a better rate because they're a smaller bank and they need to make money, so they're going to incentivize you with a lower APR.
Yep, that was great. I'm gonna
Thank you.
I'm gonna add to that in terms of using the credit, using it like for your everyday expenses, like you said. But if you know that you can handle having like high available credit,
Yes.
if they increase you to 10,000 and that thing is just like in your hand, like I gotta buy something, right? Call the bank. Tell them to decrease your available credit.
Yes.
And just remember that the available credit doesn't mean you can afford it.
That is very true.
Yeah.
And also, too, even when you are having, because they give like these promotional, 0% promotional APRs, right? And then they also incentivize you with points, right? If you spend X amount of dollars, just be careful. Like you said, because you really can put yourself in a bind and your credit is good. So just imagine getting the mecca of all cars and then the car gets shut down because you went buku crazy. So yes, I agree with that 100%. Decrease your limits if need be. But if you can keep increasing your limits, keep increasing them because then you just have more buying power. But that's more so on like the business side. So. Yep. Yes, guys. Keep the credit good. Keep your credit clean.
All right. Thank you, Toresha. So let them know how they can get in contact with you.
Yes. So thank you for having me, Cherita. I appreciate you. But you guys can follow me across all platforms. Toresha's Financial Tips. So TORESHA Financial Tips. You can find me there. Any questions that you have, I am here to help.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. See you guys.
All right. Stay tuned for what's next on The Coaches Are In. Andrea, okay, so, I've been here before. Right. I bought some eggs and, we've done some turkey pot pie, which I'm still waiting for some more of that. I'm just saying, and some ice cream. We done all that.
Right.
But let's tell the viewers, how do we even get to the point of sitting on Huck and Buck farmland? What is the backstory to that?
The backstory is, so my husband and I are full-time real estate agents, and at the time, it's 2018 when my daughter graduated from college, we were in the process of transforming and doing some updates to the house, and every so often he would always want to interject and state how he wanted to have chickens. And I'm like, we cannot have the chickens in this particular neighborhood. Just cannot do it. So why are we afraid to move? So we actually had an offer on a property in Maryland, and that didn't go through. And that was about 3.5, a little bit more of a horse pasture because it had barns and stables, had a silo. And when that didn't go through, we kind of kept coming back to this property. So I think we came to this property about 4 times between the 2 open houses that they had and then us just scheduling appointments to come in. And yeah, so we're here in Smyrna and we're on 7 acres, which we thought was going to be ridiculously a lot. And moving forward, our first batch of chickens that we ordered after we went through the process of purchasing and rehabbing the house, we did 42 chickens. We did the actual shed that was on the property. So we moved that from the backyard up to where it's currently positioned. And I thought we were insane just to do 42, but now I'm hooked. So now that we have 7 acres, we kind of actually transformed this side of the pasture, which is about 3, and then the other side is about another 3.5. That I wish we would have done a little bit more construction on the other half, because now we evolved. We have evolved into a lot. So Michael just wanted like that 40-something chickens and maybe a small garden, and I just refused to wake up every morning just to cut 6.5 acres of grass. I thought it was a waste. Like, why are we? I'm not waking up for that. So I've had several different businesses, and several that have been small and just getting started, and real estate being one of the bigger ones that I've done for now 23 years. That I said we need to make it into a business. We need to make it into a business, and we need to have other families, kids, kind of getting back outside, hands in the dirt, understanding. And he and I knew absolutely nothing. We learned everything off of YouTube. So Michael is a green thumb, in the sense he grew up gardening, his family garden. My mom dabbled into canning and doing small gardens. So he did have that background, but when it comes to like the animal husbandry in reference to doing that aspect of it, we knew nothing. So raising chickens, raising chicken meat, raising turkey meat. We went from the fowl, which are the turkeys, ducks, chicken, geese, to advancing to the potbelly pigs. So we have 2 of them. And now we have the goats, which we had 4. One had a baby, so now we have 5. So we just kind of keep adding on. So flower garden, veggie and produce garden, we process our own meat. So it became a business, and the more that we kind of dabble into things, the more I fall in love with learning different aspects, failing at different things, and just sharing and watching you guys come, like you said, the ice cream parties that I have, taking a big turkey and making a chicken pot pie that I'm not the cook, so I'm glad you liked it.
It was good, y'all.
What? When you keep talking about that, I'm like, she is really semi-serious.
I'm serious.
I'm serious. I am not the cook. So for us to even do that and you like it,
it was made with love.
Right, definitely. I mean, I had bone broth and all kinds of stuff that I never even looked at in a grocery store. So, we got turkeys, so we can do that again.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, so turn it to me. I'm a business person in reference to wanting things to be a business and to be able to share. I'm always kind of like in that sharing spirit to like teach people. And as I learn, I'm always teaching others based on what it is I've learned for you to learn and do and not do, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the backstory.
Okay.
Yeah. I love it.
Right.
I would have never thought that would be the backstory.
Right.
I think what's most interesting to me is, coming here,
Right.
it doesn't feel like a farm from what I would have had understanding of a farm. So
Right.
it's like, did you have this as a vision to have it look this way? Just because
yes
it's so,
and no.
it's more garden-like.
Right. So I don't like a lot of spaces to be utilized with the animals with regard to how they trample, walk, pound, scratch, and all of that. It becomes like a muddy mess, a dirty mess. So I wanted spaces to be available for people to be able to sit like on my swing bed. We're going to actually construct and put together some other benches and seating areas for people to have. The cut flower garden, which is overgrown right now. But I did that just with Googling different ways to actually make money on a homestead. Mm-hmm. So I don't consider myself a farmer, so to speak, where I think the misconception is farmer to me is people that do the crop farming. Mm-hmm. So all the corn, the soy, the wheat, and all that. Mm-hmm. Right. So that to me is farming. The getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, doing that part. Right. All of that. So I'm more of a homesteader.
Yes.
So my gardens they're big, and we're going to actually add to that. But I don't get up, crack of dawn. You know, I don't necessarily let like the animals dictate what time I'm going to get up, only because the type of animals that we have. So the bigger picture is for this to more or less be a campground, and for me to actually have it set up as like a retreat, a space for retreats. So I've learned since last year, I don't know if you know, but with me losing my son, that this has been more or less a healing space for me. So last year, that was kind of like the aha moment. Like I would literally be so like fanatic on what it is I'm doing, stuff growing, stuff dying, that it really touched me. And as I have different campers come on the property, they're opening up and telling me their stories and where they come from, that I've learned that that's what this place has actually become. It's become a place for people to actually just sit, have your cup of coffee, your tea, you're walking around, the kids are scrambling around. But for me, when people say, do I enjoy the space, me actually doing the work is actually enjoyment for me. So I don't necessarily have to sit and read, although my bed swing is set up for all of that. But
yes, I'm glad you mentioned that this facet of giving back, right? And it's really being a healing experience. And I know that you've done a lot of things where you've brought community members onto the property in different events. So talk a little bit about some of the things you have done and like really how people can engage with the property.
Okay. So we've had daycares come. So we've actually had 2 daycares come 2021 and then 2023. We've had a young lady use the property twice for her granddaughter's first birthday. That was in 2021. And she went all out. I mean, it was fabulous, from the different petting zoo setups, the choo-choo train driving around, the food, the one farm that she utilized and retained their services, the little farm, they have a camel, so the camel was here. So she did that in 2021, and then this year she did a family reunion. So they did that on a Saturday and Sunday. This past Sunday, which was Labor Day weekend, we had another church come and utilize it for their family and friends day. And then we have volunteer moments. So volunteering for me, I've had to learn how to not stress y'all out as much. Because when people say they want to volunteer, to me, this is not a pass-through volunteer. Like, hey, girl, I'm getting ready to run to the beach so I can come over here and hit your spot and be here for an hour. No. We're going to talk for an hour based on instruction on what needs to be done. But
gotta get it right.
Yeah, it's an hour of, this is not a weed, this is a weed, this is a produce here, step on this, don't step on that. So it's an easy hour, 45 minutes or so of just that conversation.
Right.
But past that, volunteers, I've set up a couple of organizations that have actually filled out the information to have volunteer events, so to speak. So like my blackberries, I have 4 rows of blackberries and another row that's over there by the road that needs to be pruned, cleaned up. It needs to be, when you're pruning it, we can actually put that into some soil and we can actually sell those actual branches. If Michael was here, he'd probably be correcting me on everything that I'm saying. It's not dirt, it's soil, it's pruning, it's not cutting. So just weeding. We do chore day, which that's for the kids. So I do that in the spring and in the fall. And moving forward, I would love to be able to do hosting full time. And then farm to table. So trying to do some farm to table dinner events is like the next big thing. But I'm trying to.
You won't become a cook.
Well, no. So I'm gonna have a chef come.
She said no, just the farm and the table.
The whole setup, the ambiance, I'll set all that up. But I want someone to come and give us something that is conversational, meaning the food types. So something where I would love to have a meal prepared where we're not actually using any utensils and you're really utilizing your hands to eat and you're actually interacting with the food that way. You're able to feel it, taste it, smell it, see it.
I want to come.
Actually set that up. So I was trying to do that for the fall, but I haven't put together the long tables that I want to actually craft because I would like to have like 40 people on one side. So that's almost like 80. So really a long table where you're almost having small conversations in each section of that space. So.
Well, don't let that stop you.
Right.
I mean, just if you got to get some 6-foot folding tables,
Right.
put some tablecloths.
Start where you are.
Yeah, start where you are.
And that's what a lot of people say to me. I just cannot. I don't know. I'm just really, presentation is everything for me.
But it'll still look nice.
It is.
Because it'll be covered with a nice table.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you can.
I'm going to hold that.
Then you take the proceeds from that and then go get your tables
right.
crafted.
Yeah. I need them from the wood and epoxy. Yes, I've got slabs that are already cut. I need them epoxy. I need the right stools. And then it's finding, the right chef that really wants to put not just salmon and I was gonna say chefs, if you're somebody that is digging a hole in my ground and taking a banana leaf and wrapping it in some type of fish and smoking it, putting the potatoes and stuff. It's like really something that is of interest. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. So that's coming. But not on TV.
Well, you put it out there now. We're going to hold you accountable.
Right, so all of y'all, once y'all get her contact info, I want you to reach out. When is it happening? I want to reserve a spot.
Put me on the mailing list.
Yes.
Definitely. So yeah, that is coming. That'll happen one day.
That's really great. And I mean, to, Black woman. Yes, that is awesome. So I want to make sure that our viewers know how to connect with you. I do want y'all to harass her about the farm table. Because I'm just saying, 80 people, $100 a pop. That'll take you.
It will, but see, so I'm not going to say anything where I'm glad you mentioned that dollar amount. It's hard to find people that want to spend.
No, they're there. Trust me. They're there.
It really is. And then it's also, what is it that you're serving and what are you giving them based on that experience to validate that cost?
No validation needed. You just told us.
Right.
You just told us all the work behind it.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
It's an experience.
And $100 is easy. I mean, I think it could realistically be $150 to $200. Yeah.
So, I'm going to put that together. So, I'm going to look for their connections
they're not getting a
based on this
burger and French fries,
No,
right? It would be an experience,
it's
a
an
chef-inspired menu.
Right,
Yes.
Definitely.
The people, you got 2 people out here right now.
Right.
We know people.
We got tried.
People are out there.
I appreciate that. So if we can put that, and then when it's a little cooler, where you're not out here full, wiping down, sweating, you can look, exactly, then you can look cute. But you can definitely reach us through our website. So the website is going to be huckandbuckfarm.com. So that is the website. And in reference to camping, the platform that we use is HipCamp. Okay. So HipCamp, HIPCAMP. So outside of that, you can call me, Andrea Haritos, and I give my numbers 302-354-4271. That's the cell that I have for farming, real estate, the daughter calls, family calls. One number that I had now for probably like 24 years. Okay. The number has been the same.
No need to change.
No need to change.
Awesome. So it's been great
definitely
talking to you.
I learned a lot. Definitely. I appreciate that.
Yes.
Coming out.
If you are in the Delaware area, place a phone call, go to the website. And then come by. Don't just randomly showing up. Exactly. People live here too. All right. But yes, definitely support Huck and Buck Farm any way that you can. Great opportunity, great experience. Fresh collard greens.
Yes. All day.
All the above. Fresh eggs.
Yes. Peppers. All that.
Yes.
Chicken meat, turkeys in the fall that are coming for Thanksgiving. Definitely. We'll have all that.
Please support.
Yes.
And next, tune in for what is coming up on The Coaches Are In. All right, so that is it.
That was a good
show.
Episode. So the Coaches Are In. Yes.
Already.
That's a wrap. So I just want to remind you that we are reading Rest is Resistance, a Manifesto. Mm-hmm. Grab the book from your favorite book retailer and start reading, and catch us when we go live again for the next book discussion. It's not next week. And I don't want to say the wrong date, so I'm not going to say it.
Don't even say it. Just stay tuned. Just be there.
It's coming. If you're watching us every week, you know when it's coming, and you should be watching us every week. So,
Right.
yes, participate with us, please. Please. But if you want to participate in the live discussion and come into the online studio and be on camera with us talking about the book, you can go to thecoachesrn.com and submit the contact us form to let us know you want to participate, or message on Instagram or Facebook at the Coaches RN, and we'll get your message and get back to you about that. And then just want to remind you that we are on YouTube on Mondays at 8 p.m. Show up, like us, share, subscribe.
Click, do everything.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that is it for this episode.
All right.
The Coaches RN are out. Peace.